Welcome to the Doc G Show, a radio show cluster. Without further ado, critics have said he has the face for radio and a voice for silent films. Your host, Ben Doc G. Gordon.
And we are on the air. Welcome to the Doc G Show. I'm your host, Doc G. With me, as always, the one, the only, Mikey, Maximus, the Fernicus. Say what? Charette.
Doc G, what is up, sir? How we doing?
Doing good, man.
Yeah.
Doing good. Easy breezy.
Easy breezy.
My song of the week, Diamond Girl, Seals and Croft.
That's right.
Okay.
It's a very summer song, Mike.
Yeah.
It's very 70s.
Mm-hmm.
It's got the windows open, the curtains blowing in the breeze, you know?
Chest hair flowing.
Exactly. I don't have any curtains, and I have minimal chest hair, but all of that,
Same.
all of that could occur, Mike. Mike, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great.
Good.
It's a good summer so far, Doc G.
There
I'm
we
really
go.
feeling the vibes.
Let's be honest. Summers are always good.
Yeah, they are.
Summers are always good, but Mike, I overcame a disaster this past week.
Oh, what happened?
It was pretty serious. And I'm going to relate it to something else that happened on the show. You know, a while back, you went to New York, if you recall. And Claude was here.
Yeah.
And I found out something about Claude that I didn't know, but it fits Claude because Claude's an eclectic guy.
Yeah.
He looks like a very normal guy, and then he'll throw these things out at you that you're like, what?
Word.
Came from left field? What the heck, right? Claude loves the show Survivor.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Have you watched Survivor, Mike?
Doc G, I auditioned for Survivor.
What?
Back in the day.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
You were going to try and survive, Mike.
Yeah, I was going to try to survive. I was just under the, it was 21 and up show. I was 20. So I don't know if that was why I didn't get in, but I did try. I was like, hey, guys, I think I can.
I got to say, Mike, absolutely not. No, Mike, I would make it 16 minutes before I died on that show.
Yeah.
16 minutes. They wouldn't even have the cameras set up around my little camp before they're like, this guy died. Is there anybody?
He has dysentery.
He's dead somehow already. His brain's out. This is horrible. That show is all about, can you handle short-term adversity, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And let me tell you something, Mike. I can't handle short-term adversity.
Nope.
Yeah.
Minor things derail me completely. Just completely off my game. And that's what happened this past week, Mike. That's what happened.
Got
this
derailed?
past week, yeah, I was completely derailed. Minor thing, let me tell you. I was trying to sleep. This was Thursday night.
Mm-hmm.
And I was gonna get myself a good sleep, you know? And I finally get in there, I get in a groove, I'm sleeping, and then at like 3 a.m., I'm woken up by what sounds like a drill in my wall.
Girl, come on.
Ugh.
And I was just like, what the is that, right?
Yeah.
I swear, sounded like a jackhammer. And it just kept on going off. You know, it'd be like 10 minutes, you wouldn't hear it, and then it'd start again. And then it'd go for like, and it didn't take me that long before I was like, I need to investigate this. I need to look into this. This is gonna drive me crazy because I couldn't sleep. Every time I'd try to get back into sleep, that thing would come back in and just it's like it's drilling into my brain.
Blam.
And I was like, so I started Googling it, right? And I found basically a couple of theories and videos that verified what it was.
It'd be crazy, by the way, if you could just hold your phone up to the wall or whatever and like be like, Google, what is this?
We'll get there. We'll get there, Mike.
Okay, sorry.
It definitely will happen.
Hey Siri, what's going on behind me?
I mean, let's be honest. Right now, I don't trust that technology, and I never will. But
oh my gosh, I just set off Siri. Sorry.
We'll be there. We'll be there. But like, Mike, you know, I did think, what if it was sort of like WebMD, and I Googled like, what's the noise in my wall, and it's like, you're gonna die of AIDS. What? Oh, that's horrible. Oh no. And anywho, I found out, Mike, that it is water hammering. That's what I had going on. Water hammering. And water hammering is most likely made by a washer or a toilet.
Oh.
But you know, here's the problem, Mike. I couldn't do anything about it because it wasn't my washer or toilet. It was my neighbor's washer or toilet. So I was like, so like I didn't know, you know, what to do. Side note, Mike, I don't know if this is true or not, but I bet you that wouldn't happen with a bidet. What do you think?
Probably not.
Probably not. Pretty great, I'm guessing not.
I mean, it's still a pipe issue, Doc G. I mean, let's just be honest. The bidet
No way,
is really
Mike.
an extension of the toilet. It doesn't have anything
No
to do
way.
with the
That
watering.
flowing water, you would not get a water hammer. Anywho, next day, I'm yawning. My mood has shifted. The whole day, I'm at work just being like, I bet you that's still going to be doing that when I get home. I bet you it's going to be doing it. Oh, man. I mean, you know, again, there are people living in war-torn Ukraine or Gaza just being champions out there, and here I am falling apart from a banging noise coming from my wall, just like, I can't. Oh, it's the worst. Oh, no, right? I got home, no noise, and I was like, sweet.
Yeah.
I think we're good. No noise for 2 hours, and then all of a sudden, it just comes roaring back. And I was just like, oh, God. And I had to take action, Mike. I had to take action. I was like, no, not again. This is not happening again tonight. I am sleeping tonight. So I went over to my neighbor's townhouse. And
I took a sledgehammer and I beat his wall down.
And I asked them about it, and they said they called the plumber. They put but the plumber couldn't come until tomorrow, the next day. I asked her if she had just tried to turn off the water to the toilet, and she was like, "You can do that?" And I was like, "Yeah, you can definitely do that." And she was like, "Oh, I don't know how to do that." I was like, can you let me in? I will definitely turn it off for you. And she's like, yeah, no problem. Did that. End of the issue, Mike.
Ah, nice.
Yeah. Which, by the way, shout out to my neighbor. She could have not opened the door to the frightening vagabond that lives beside her when he knocks on the door. But she did. And as a result, we both didn't have to hear ridiculous noises all night. So
that's great. Save the day.
Exactly. But that's not my point of saving the day, Mike. My point is I'm a giant weenie. If that would have gone on for like 2 more nights, I would have died. I would have. I would have been like, it's too. I had not enough sleep.
Yeah, no.
That's my threshold. Again, you go back to Survivor, Mike. They're out there, torrential rains, dealing with venomous animals, sweltering temperatures, no shelter, and here I am, slightly annoying noise almost killed me.
Yeah, you like sleeping in the heat, though.
I do like.
So you would have that. You would have that advantage. I think most people don't have that.
That's true. That's true. But the bottom line, Mike, I'm not good with adversity.
Yeah.
But you know what? This show's not about adversity.
No, it isn't. It's about inclusion.
Amen.
Yeah.
It's about.
Are you going to say that, Doc G?
I was going to say a good time. But you know what? An inclusive good time. You know what?
Yeah.
An inclusive good time. Are you ready to fire up this inclusive good time, Mike?
Let's fire it up, Doc G.
All 3 engines up and burning. 2, 1, 0, and lift off.
Mike, we have a fantastic show today. We have Mr. Robert Jon of Robert Jon and the Wreck, who have their new album Red Moon Rising coming out. They are Southern Cali folks. Originals, Mike. You don't get it all the time, but they have been in Southern Cali their whole life.
That's right.
I always think it's, the actual Southern Cal folks that I meet, real good folks.
Yeah.
Some people that move to Southern Cal, I don't like those folks. People that live there their whole life, usually good folks.
Yeah.
Anyways, can't wait to talk to RJ, but first we need to start where we start.
Birthday suit.
Happy birthday, Mr. President.
Mike, you are 36 for 60.
Okay. I don't know.
Dead even on the 60%, my friend.
All right. Cool. Good. I was
Dead
trying to
even.
do quick ratios there. I was like,
Eh,
that sounds like I'm failing. Getting
10
close.
10%, 6.
Yeah. Okay.
50%, 30. Add them
Got it.
together, 60%. Boom.
Thank you.
You know, it's just a little. That's what I do with the second graders. We learn our math. You know,
Second graders?
That's
Come
like.
on, say seventh at least.
I was about to say. I think that might be middle school. Maybe fifth if you're advanced. But
What kind of
anyhow,
savant schools are you going to, Doc G?
this is 2-year-old stuff.
Girl, come on.
Mike, you got this first one, no doubt. Born on June 19th, 1978 in Würzburg, Germany. Our birthday suit wearer loved tennis and handball from a young age. His mom was a professional basketball player, and his dad was a professional handball player. He got tired of sticking out and being like a foot taller than everybody else in tennis and handball, so he switched to basketball. Our birthday suit wearer decided to go directly to the NBA instead of going to college. In 1998, he was drafted 9th overall by the Milwaukee Bucks, but immediately traded to the Dallas Mavericks. With the Mavericks, he had an amazing career. He was a 12-time All-NBA player. He was a 14-time All-Star. He won MVP in 2007. He won a championship in 2011. He was selected for the NBA 75th anniversary team. For his career, he had 31,560 points. He played all 21 seasons of his career with Dallas. He is the only player to ever have played that many seasons with one team. Name that birthday suit wearer.
Dirk Nowitzki?
Dirk Nowitzki is correct.
Nice.
Yes. The old Dirk. Yeah. My goodness. What a career.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, but if he wouldn't have won that championship, people would have all been over. Like, it would have just been like a sad, he did so well.
But
But
for him when they did that too. They beat the Heatles.
they did. They did. They did, and they were close to beating that D Wade team. They were close, and then it just went all downhill. D Wade decided to go banana sandwich and just blow him out of the water the last 4 games of the series.
Was that with Shaq?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was the Maverick went up 2-0, and then Maverick went up 2-0, and then the Heat won 4 in a row. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Pretty wild. Anyways, Dirk Nowitzki, there you go.
Yeah.
Turning, let's see, what is he turning? 46. 46 for Dirk Nowitzki. Looking good, you know. He's probably sad from that loss this week there.
Yeah.
You know, he showed up to all of the games, you know. He's a big supporter still. Doesn't seem like he's got too much to going on besides rooting the Dallas Mavericks. Not that he needs to have anything going on. I'm not saying you're lazing around, Dirk. You can lazy around. You had a 21-season career. My knees would hurt if I were you. So I understand. Mike, are you ready to rip some headlines?
Let's rip some headlines, Doc G.
It's now time for Rip from the Headlines.
Tom Brady.
TB.
Tom Brady. Mike, you texted me this news.
Yeah.
You texted me this news. I saw it. And it perked my ears up. I said, what? In this case, it was my eyes, because I was looking at it with my eyes, not reading it, listening to it. Regardless.
Girl, come on.
Doesn't matter. Mike, Tom Brady and Giselle, his ex, we all know the relationship she's been entwined with over the last year or so. Her relationship with jiu-jitsu trainer Joaquim Valente.
Yep, Joaquin.
And the news that came out over the weekend was that this relationship ended, Mike. All the insiders saying it was Tom's roast that is at fault. The pressure that the roast put on their relationship just broke the two apart.
Say what?
But then insiders on Tom's side, Mike, say Tom doesn't think he has any blame for this relationship fizzling out. And he isn't trying to sabotage anyone, you know?
Nope.
But guess what, Mike? I have follow-up to both of those stories. Just on Sunday, Page 6 reported that Giselle and her kids went paddleboarding with Joaquin. That's right.
Interesting.
That's right. Doesn't seem like fizzling to me, Mike.
Nope.
That
Rumors.
doesn't seem like fizzling to me.
Nah.
I'll also say in the pictures, I mean, I know Giselle's a model, so it's sort of expected. But man, does she have the old Apollo belt.
So true.
My goodness. You know the little lines that go down to your crotch? You know those?
Yeah.
Woo! God, she is chiseled there.
Oh, the V?
Crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's called the Apollo belt, Mike.
Oh, okay.
My goodness. I'm like, she's like
Ripped.
40. Yeah, she's like 43 or 44 or something like that. And just like, and you've
for
had
her.
3 kids. Jesus. Crazy.
Yeah. Good for
Crazy. But anyways, I was thinking about this, Mike. I was like, how can Tom come out on the top of this situation? And I think I got it. You know what would be the ultimate move here? If Tom became best friends with Joaquin.
her. Ooh.
You know?
Yeah.
Just started palling around with him. Doing bro stuff. They just start hanging out all the time.
Paddleboarding together.
Yeah. And he doesn't have to take it to this notch, Mike, but if he wants to fully commit, he can have sex with him. It's totally Tom's choice, but can you imagine that? People would come up to Giselle and be like, hey, I heard your ex-boyfriend is hooking up with your ex-husband, and neither of them want anything to do with you. That's rough. Sorry. That's yikes. Right? What the ultimate zinger, man?
Yeah, that would be a zinger for sure.
Tom would
that
have
make
it.
her an Eskimo sister to Tom?
You better believe it.
Yeah, okay.
To both of them, actually.
So he
right?
would be her Eskimo brother.
It'd be a
She would
vicious
be
triangle.
His Eskimo sister.
Yeah, Eskimo triangle. Mike.
Yeah.
But despite all the going-ons of Tom and Giselle, I think the former Patriot that's having the best week, I don't know if you saw this, Mike, Bill Belichick. Did you see the Bill Belichick news?
No, what happened?
He's apparently dating a 24-year-old former cheerleader.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. For all you folks that like to have fun with math, that means she's exactly 1/3 of Bill's age. He's 72. She's 24.
Wow.
Yeah. Mike, I went on her Instagram. Surprisingly, it's still public profile.
Oh.
Not surprisingly, every post is like 70 comments deep now about Bill Belichick. Doesn't matter what the post was actually about. There's just gifs, there's jokes, there's people being like, you should burn in because you're dating a 72-year-old. It's rough.
Yeah.
It's rough. But you know what? She's also a pretty avid bird watcher, Mike.
Oh.
Yeah. So I bet you that's what Bill got interested in, you know?
Yeah.
Probably
for sure.
share a kinship over birds. Just let you know. So there you go, Mike. That's
Cool.
everything wrapped up in a bow of Patriot, former Patriot info.
Cool.
There you go. Yeah.
Well.
Yeah, Mike, I've got a headline from The Independent. Mini driver gives advice to her younger self. Honey, find a nice plumber, end quote.
Word.
That's some weird advice, right, Mike?
Yeah.
Yeah. You dive into the article, Mike, and you find out that when she was on the Today Show last week, they asked her advice that she would give her younger self. And she said, quote, "Don't date actors. I had the best time doing it, but I would tell her, honey, find a nice plumber, find an electrician, find someone who wants to stay home and support you." What's the Independent trying to do with that headline, Mike?
I don't know.
Like, come on, guys. Hey, Minnie Driver wishes she had a plumber at home because she's had uncontrollable diarrhea for the last 25 years. We just wanted you to know that. Like, come on, man. Don't be making clickbait, Independent.
Anyways, here's this trade school advertisement.
It's ridiculous, Mike. I just, come on. I went in, I started reading. I was like, I saw that title and I was like, what is this all about? And I looked in there and I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, you really botched that, Independent. Anyways, Mike, what would be your advice to your younger self? Anything?
No, I would say just keep doing whatever you're doing. You're doing great.
Oh,
Keep
nice.
making all those mistakes. Yeah, I think I would probably tell myself to just keep on. And just forget this whole I'm here in your life time traveling. That whole, forget that. Don't worry about that. Just keep doing
Don't
what
worry
you're
how I got here.
doing. Yeah. What about you, Doc G? What would you say?
Be better at most things you do in life. That would be it. You know?
Yeah.
You ended up sucking at most things. Try to do better. You know? I don't know. It always seems like everybody, whenever they give advice to their younger selves, always really nice. Like they're always like, like yours, you know?
Yeah.
You're doing good. No, I could have done a lot better.
Yeah.
I was sandbagging most of that life. Let's be honest. Anyways, Mike, I got a little. I mean, it turned out okay, I think, but it's sort of a serious story last week. Last Wednesday, a New York man was arrested following a traffic stop because he had a blacked out license plate. When they pulled the car over, they found multiple guns, hundreds of rounds of ammunition, body armor, knives, and other weapons. Lastly, he had an expandable baton with, quote, "You gonna learn today," written on the baton.
Nice.
It's not fully clear if this guy was planning a terrorist attack or just a dude driving around with a ton of weapons, Mike. But the New York governor said there is no tolerance for this behavior. This is criminal, and I have confidence in our system that this individual will be prosecuted and handled to the fullest extent of the law. First of all, I got to say, Mike, I don't want to tell this guy how to do his criminal activity, but if you're transporting a load of illegal stuff in your car, you're going to want a license plate.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, sort of like a giant sign above your car saying, "Please pull me over." Like, it's the number one thing they will pull you over for.
Wait, you said he had a blacked out license plate, like one of those like coverings, like the tent?
I would assume like if you literally just can't see it.
Oh, okay.
Like, I mean, you know, that's what I would assume by blacked out.
Sometimes you see license plates that are like covered with like a black, like a black.
I feel like they would say that would be tinted if they had that in the news story. You know, blacked out would mean it's blacked out. You can't see it. You know, redacted license plate. But second of all, Mike, you gonna learn today? What was this, the Kevin Hart influenced terrorist? Did he have another baton that said, "Say it with your chest"? Like, what the hell? This guy, I'm going to go around whip people with this. They'll really get something out of it. I wrote it on here. Like, just...
Yeah, you had to go to a custom baton maker. Hey, can I get you're going to learn today?
Can you monogram it at the end? Just
Cursive is fine. Cursive is fine.
Just the initials. It's ridiculous, Mike. Mike, you know I love Michael Jordan. Got a little story. Got a story about MJ. His daughter, Jasmine. You know Jasmine?
Yeah, you know, vaguely.
Every now and then I'll go on her Instagram. She's got a family. That's basically everything about her Instagram is her family. Anywho.
Cool.
She did it. She did an interview where she was talking about growing up with MJ as her dad. And she mentioned how she loved a lot of different shoes growing up. Like she was big into, shoe collecting.
Ah, finally. Somebody who can appreciate the lifestyle. Nice. I love hearing that.
Well, but then MJ, sure, he appreciated shoes, but he only appreciated Jordans.
That's right.
And he would get the other shoes for her, but anything that weren't Jordans weren't allowed to stay in the house. After one day, he would throw them in the trash. Only Jordan stayed in the house. And the article was making this out, Mike, that this was like some kind of crazy idea. And I got to say, I was like, I fully support this idea. I was like, I got to say, you're right. He kicked out those lame shoes. Like, oh, I'm sorry. Did those Skechers help build this house? No. No, they did not. Like, come on. In World War II, did you see the Allies trying to get their hands on some Nazi gear? Like, oh, it's pretty sweet. No, they didn't.
Nope.
That's the enemy, Mike.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that was probably a little extreme. And I guess if I'm going to use that analogy, I guess it should have been Adidas as the example shoe, but whatever.
Yeah.
They were ran by Nazis. Anywho.
Yeah. He almost signed with them, didn't they? No, it was Converse.
He wanted to.
Oh, okay.
He wanted to. If you remember, Mike, we watched Air together. Remember that review, listeners, from last summer? Do you remember? Good times last summer.
Good times.
I think that was about around this time of year. That's when that happened. It was good times. But in Air, yes, he was a big... There's actually also an interview when he was a young buck of him saying, Adidas, that's my brand. I love Adidas. You know? He wanted Adidas bad, and they, one, they didn't have enough money. Two, they were like, this guy isn't going to make our money back for us. They're pretty wrong. Pretty wrong. Anywho, Mike, Scott McCreery. You remember Scott?
No.
He won American Idol back in 2011.
Okay.
So true.
He's got a boyish charm in his face.
All right.
He's still out there. He's banging out country classics, you know? It's no Carrie Underwood career, but he's getting it done, you know? He recently stopped by and chatted with Jennifer Hudson on her show. And he said in the interview that Priscilla Presley told him, quote, Elvis would have loved you. And Scotty said that was the best compliment he's ever got.
Jeez.
And I mean, that's good. I mean, it's Elvis, you know?
Sure.
But I feel like if I were Scotty, I would have to follow up with Priscilla and be like, I hate to be a stickler, but is that the young, hip-swiveling, guitar-banging Elvis that loves me? Or like the old, pudgy, I ate too many fried banana sandwich Elvis? It's kind of important which one loves me.
Yeah.
I'm very superficial. I would like the young one.
That's the one you were around.
I would like that one.
Yeah.
But, you know, anyway. Yeah, just saying. Kudos to Scotty, you know? Mike, do you remember Callista Flockhart?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
90s.
Yeah, Ally McBeal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ran for 5 seasons. I looked it up, you know? I remember there was a dancing baby, and there was a unisex bathroom. Had it all.
Yeah.
Anyway, she was on the Hollywood Reporter podcast a couple of days ago, and she let folks know the popularity She let folks know how the popularity of Ally McBeal affected her. Yeah. And she said, quote, I stopped leaving my house, I stopped going out, and I was isolated. It was challenging.
Word.
And I got to say, Mike, now that she lives in Wyoming on an 800-acre ranch with Harrison Ford, I'm glad to hear she's got over the isolated feeling. That's good. That's good. Because nothing says you're a social Sally like living in the middle of nowhere, right? Oh, my gosh. I'm just meeting all kinds of people out here on the desolate plains. It's great. What? Get out of here, man. She is one of those, they're one of those nutty couples, though, Mike. Just a ranch out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, it's not a bad thing if you got the money to do it.
Sounds nice
like,
in theory, but like how that's not sustainable.
It's not too practical. No. Well, I mean, I guess it is sustainable if you're absurdly rich. If you're absurdly rich, it's pretty sustainable, you know?
Yeah.
Because you can get people to fly out and do things. You can fly out
That's
and do
true.
things. You can, you know. She seems to be doing fine. She's doing good. Yes! Anywho, Mike, let's take a break. We are going to be right back, but first we are going to hear from Robert, Jon, and the Wreck right here on the Doc G Show. Back here on the Doc G Show, Spinnaker Radio, WSKRLP 95.5 FM in Jacksonville, Florida. Mike, what do listeners need to do?
Well, Doc G, if the listeners feel like the show is a positive way to waste their time, they should please subscribe to the show on, we're everywhere. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, we're on YouTube and SoundCloud. A couple other spots as well. Wherever they get their podcast, please subscribe. It is a cost-effective way to support the show. And if the listeners are feeling extra generous, please leave us a 5-star review. We appreciate that. And tell a friend about the show.
Amen.
Love you.
And two things. One, highest numbers for the podcast ever on the listening side of things. So thank you for the folks that are listening on streaming it on Spotify, on Apple, on SoundCloud, and even listening it on YouTube, because you can just listen to it on YouTube as well. Also, of course, thanks to the folks that are following on YouTube, subscribers. We have had thousands and thousands of % increase from the start of the year on YouTube. Now, granted, say what? That's basically because we didn't have any followers at the start of the year because we didn't use it. But still, that doesn't negate the fact that we have had thousands and thousands of % increase in followers. Yep. Okay?
It's just facts.
Keep it going. Keep it going, listeners. We need some more listeners. Mike, we need to thank the regular listeners here.
Yes, we do.
Shout out to Jacksonville, Florida, Columbia, South Carolina, Radford, Virginia, Gainesville, Florida, Frankfurt, Germany, Anoka, Minnesota, Ashburn, Virginia, Piracai, Brazil, San Diego, California, Dublin, Ireland, Boardman, Oregon, Genoa, Italy, Richards, Texas, Barcelona, Spain, Winfield, West Virginia, Biloxi, Mississippi, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Peoria, Illinois, Katy, Texas, Toms River, New Jersey, Olive Branch, Mississippi, Asheville, North Carolina, Los Angeles, California, Spartanburg, South Carolina, Athens, Georgia, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Chicago, Illinois, Boynton, Virginia, and Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and Columbus, Ohio.
Hey.
There we go. Cool. Mike. There we go. 4-star listens, Mike. Here we go. First off, shout out once again to the folks in Manhattan, New York. We appreciate it. The Big Apple, such a vibrant place. We appreciate you listening. Toronto, Canada, Mike, another vibrant place. Have you ever been to Toronto?
Yeah. I went there a couple of years. A couple of years ago.
Was it during the summer?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, nice.
Went to the Needle.
Enjoyable.
That was cool.
Enjoyable in the summer.
Really nice.
Not so much in the winter. Not so much in the winter.
Nah.
Shout out to Boulder, Colorado. Once again, coming in. We appreciate the old Boulder listens. That's very nice of you. Also, shout out to Hirosaki, Japan. Yes.
Oh.
That's right.
Cool.
Very exciting. Shout out to Ann Arbor, Michigan. There we go. home of the old Wolverines. We appreciate you listening. Shout out to Seattle, Washington. There we go. Always good. The old rainy Northwest. I don't know how if they've been rainy or not, if we had one of those weather patterns. I'm guessing they have. That's normally the ticket. Anywho, shout out to Birmingham, Alabama. Yes. Shout out to Council Bluffs, Iowa. Shout out to Middletown, Pennsylvania.
Cool.
Shout out to ATL, Atlanta. Shout out to Miami, Florida. My God, did they get some rain this past week, Mike? Good Lord.
Yeah, some flooding videos, I think, right?
Jesus. Yes. Talking to my brother, he's up in Fort Lauderdale right beside it. And, he's getting worried. It was getting close to his house. He was like, oh, sweet Jesus. Oh, no, my stuff's going to get ruined. It was close. It was frightening, Here, not so much. We didn't get anything. But down there, what a difference a whole Florida state make, It's a big difference. Lastly, Mike, on the old 4-star listeners. Oh, shout out to Newberry, South Carolina. There we go.
Newberry.
Yeah, Good place.
Cool.
Drove through there a lot. Right beside Columbia, South Carolina.
Okay.
Anywho, Mike, I got 2 quick miscellaneous things to go over.
All right.
Mike, this is neither here nor there. Just noticed this, and I thought...
It's just existing.
It's just miscellaneous.
Yeah.
Princess Kate. You know Princess Kate. Princess of Wales.
Yeah.
She's been battling cancer, as you know, I think. Right?
No, I didn't know.
Oh, you didn't know that?
No.
Yeah, if you remember, there was a whole debacle about her not being seen in public, and then she doctored a picture, and people were like, "Oh, she doctored a picture. What's going on? There's a fake Kate," and there was all these crazy conspiracies and all these dumb things, and then she had to come out and be like, "Hey, here's why I did that. I'm fighting cancer, you turds," and everybody were like, "Oh." Well, she should have just told us that.
Yeah.
Told us that,
Trying to Photoshop it.
But regardless, she's been fighting cancer for I want to say a couple of months, 3, 4, 5, something like that, somewhere in that ballpark. Maybe it's been longer. I'm old. Sometimes those months fly by. Anywho, she's been battling cancer, and she's got 3 kids to take care of, and she made her first public appearance since starting cancer treatment, Mike. She came out at the old Trooping the Color ceremony, which celebrates the king's birthday. And I gotta say, man, she was looking effervescent.
That's good.
Just immaculate, And I get it. She's got billions of dollars of royalty money, but if I have to take care of 3 kids and I'm dealing with cancer, I'm gonna look like a pile of and she's coming out there looking amazing, So I want to say, shout out to Kate. This is looking fantastic, looking strong. Hopefully that cancer goes into remission and you send it, That's what I'm hoping. Mike, the other thing that I've got on the miscellaneous file, we need to stop $20 and $25 gift cards.
Wait, what?
They're pointless. Like, I know that they're not. I know they're not pointless. I know it's $25. That's money, right? But it's just annoying. Like, I get these as people saying thank you for things. I've got 3 of them, Mike. I've got 3 $20, $120, and $2 $25 gift cards. And, like, every time I go to the grocery store or I go to the gas station, I'm like, should I use this? I'm like, well, it's not going to pay for everything. And then I'm going to have to put in 2 types of payment. And I'm going to be like, oh, hey, here, take this. Okay, now take this. Okay, like, I don't want to be that person that's pulling out 37 cards.
So you just have, like, Visa gift cards that you need to use?
Yes.
Because some places don't even accept them, and then you feel kind of embarrassed. You're
exactly.
Like, oh, I promise there's money on this. I'm not just
exactly. And then you're like trying to give them the card. They're like, we don't accept your fake payment. And you're like, it's not fake, everybody. It's real. Like I just, they're just like, and that's the thing is like, then I looked into it. I was like, oh, if it's just a gift card like Visa, can I just like put it on my actual credit card? Like pay? No. Can't pay a credit card bill with it. Yeah, can't transfer. Like, it's just, I mean... And like I said, there's nothing that I really buy that's cheap enough to be covered by that gift card. Mm-hmm. It's all, I would have to pay it with multiple gift cards. So, anyways, I'm just saying, folks. I get it. I get the gesture, and it was nice of these people to give it to me. But you could give me something stupid, you know? You could give me, I can't reach it, Mike, but you could give me a llama mask that I bought, and I would be more excited about that llama mask.
Llama mask?
Yeah. You've seen my llama mask, right?
I don't think so.
Okay, hold on. Okay. Yes.
There we go.
Right?
Llama mask.
How much do you think this mask costs, Mike?
Not enough.
$6.99. $6.99.
Yep.
I would take this any day over a $25 gift card.
Yeah. I could see that.
Totally worth it, Mike. I can be my own guard llama. Own guard llama.
Hilarious.
Anyways, Mike, we are going to take a break. We are going to be right back with none other than Robert Jon right here on the Doc G Show. Welcome back to the show, everybody. We are super happy to have a fantastic artist and songwriter who has a new album coming out June 28th titled Red Moon Rising. Mr. Robert Jon, sir, how's it going?
It's going great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you got a big album coming, and you've also got a big old European tour. My goodness. France, Italy, Spain, Germany, Belgium, Netherlands, United Kingdom. You guys play Europe a lot. That's got to be pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's great. We love it out there. We've been going out there since, I think, 2015 or so. And, it's been growing, and it's been really great.
Well, I know you don't want to, you probably don't want to play favorites, but I do. Do you have a favorite place to play in Europe?
Man, it's like picking your own kids, you know. Every country in Europe, I think, just has some different attributes than other countries, you know. Mm-hmm. And I think just out of what's the word? I think just out of nostalgia, you know. Mm-hmm. The first time we went over there, going to Spain for the first time is just a whirlwind. It's a 180 between what we're used to here in the States. There's nights where you don't play until midnight because that's when the bar opens, you know, and then, it's a lot of fun. It just seems it's like a party everywhere you go.
I've heard a lot of rock and roll folks say they love Spain, and I can get behind their timing. I'm a late eater. I'm not an early morninger. I like a good afternoon nap. All of those things make sense to me. Well, now I was taking a look at the old numbers there on Spotify, and Amsterdam has the top. They have your top listening spot, and I couldn't help but notice.
Amsterdam's been great.
The listening spots for our listeners. You've got Amsterdam 1, London 2. Madrid 3, Stockholm 4, Rotterdam 5. I mean, that 5 European places in your top 5. What kind of propaganda tour did you launch in Europe? It clearly worked. It clearly Why are you so popular in Europe? What's your guesses?
We've just been going back there over and over again since 2015. We've been kind of focusing on that quite a bit, and we just now started focusing more on the States.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just, going out there for weeks and weeks at a time since 2015 we've just been putting in the work. That's it. I mean, we have a great PR team out there, and we're always growing out there. We got a great booking agent and tour manager out there. Mm-hmm. Mr. Manny Montana has been kind of leading the charge and directing our kind of path out there, and it's been working great. Man, I didn't even know that about the Spotify numbers. So that's pretty cool.
Manny Montana. Instantly, I just thought of Tony Montana. I was like, oh, man. Was it love at first sight as far as like the European audience and your music? Like as soon as you went out there, did you have like a following, or did you slowly see it build?
I mean, we're still seeing it build, but I mean, ever since we went out there, I mean, I think the first show we ever played in Europe was in Switzerland, and there were people in the crowd. I mean, there wasn't a ton of people, don't get me wrong, but there were people in that crowd singing along to our songs that we barely ever had in the States. So it was like, we were like, how do these? What? It was
we don't know the lyrics. How do you guys know them? This is crazy.
Yeah. So it was, and just feeling that for the first time out there, it was just insane. So we kind of just kept on trucking, and it's great out there. We love it.
Nice. Now you've got, for the listeners who don't know, you've got a son who's about 2.5 or so.
Almost. Yeah.
So does he get to take this trip, or is this a dad solo trip here?
This is a dad and the boys trip, definitely. One day he'll get out there, but not yet.
I was about to say, so there is a goal at some point in time because I mean that's a pretty sweet opportunity as a kid. You get to see all those different places and whatnot. That's pretty nice.
Yeah. I think when the world gets when the logistics make sense, then we'll figure it out,
A little bit difficult when you're talking about a 2-year-old,
Yeah, I mean, we're driving every day, new town every day. We're out there to work.
Yeah.
So not as much relaxation as a 2-year-old may want.
Has he got to the point where he realizes like what's happening when you leave?
I think so, but daddy work, but the joy about that is FaceTime, something that people didn't have, I don't know how many years ago, but in the recent, past, I mean, so I can see him every day, and he can see me. So it's not a complete shut off, like, hey, I'll see you in 3 weeks. How it used to be in the past. So,
that makes it a lot better. Yeah,
technology is good for a lot of things.
For some, for some, yeah. Well, now when you get off tour and go home to your family, that's Southern California, and you've been in SoCal your whole life, right?
Yeah, born and raised.
Nice. Now, I actually saw recently on Instagram you were digging through some of your memories at your parents' house. And you found a box of CDs of your very first EP, Stand.
Yeah, that was like the first, recording that I made, with some songs. Did you listen to it
when you pulled it out?
I didn't. I just was like, oh man, I still got a whole box of these. Obviously, I'm sure there's another box down there somewhere. It's not like I was selling a bunch of CDs back then, but I didn't listen to it. I probably should.
I'd have to, it's a little bit, I guess, obvious with, like you said, the overstock that you have. But did you anticipate maybe a little bit more sales than you had on that first album?
No, I didn't even understand anything. I was like, I like music. I should record it and make CDs. And then at the time, like disc makers, they're like, oh, well, here's the thing. You make 1,000 because that's the easiest and best pricing. And you're like, well, yeah, that makes sense. I can sell those.
Of course.
No,
Gonna
no way.
put these in my trunk, head around, get these out there on the streets. Yeah. But now
So,
I hear the first music that you really got into was your dad's Motown gospel records.
Yeah.
Do you have a go-to Motown artist or group?
Not really. I mean, in this house lately, there's been a lot of Sam Cooke going on.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and so that's just what's happening. But, you know, I mean, with my dad, it was a lot of radio, a lot of K-Earth 101 down here, which is the oldie station. That's what I remember. Going to school in the morning, put that on, you know, and
was he the type that would, you know, give you the who's this? Guess who this is? No,
not at all. He's the type that would just sing along, and I'd be like, yeah, you know,
that's a good jam.
I was so small, you know.
Yeah.
So didn't even realize it at the time, but you know, then looking back on things, you're like, what do I remember first? I'm like, yeah, and Motown oldies, you know, old gospel records like the Oak Ridge Boys and like, you know, like 4-piece quartet type gospel stuff.
Sam Cooke splits both. You got the gospel and the God, man, I love Sam Cooke. He is my favorite favorite singer. I always tell people if I can sing like somebody and talk like somebody, Sam Cooke for singing, Morgan Freeman for talking. If I could have that duo, my God, I'd be unstoppable. Yeah. Unstoppable. He's just it's so effortless, his singing. It's just, you know, he just doesn't even sound like he's, you know, revving the engine most of the time, and it comes out so smooth.
So natural, you know?
Well, now, growing up in Southern California at your age, I mean, you had like, I was thinking about, I mean, you had the rise of sort of the gangster rap. You had Snoop, you had Dre out there. You had rock artists, Sublime and the Red Hot Chili Peppers. You had artists like Rage Against the Machine. One of my grunge favorites, you had Stone Temple Pilot down the road in San Diego. I know classic rock was a huge part of your musical diet later on, but did you get inspired by those sort of contemporary artists earlier?
Not early on. That came like more of the high school phase. I think, you know, early around like junior high more was like classic rock, all classic rock. Mostly because, you know, we weren't going to the record stores yet. You know, in junior high, at least I wasn't. I'm sure cool kids were. You know, so it was just, you know, someone brings a CD from home and it's Aerosmith, and then you know, go on whatever internet that we even had back then and try and get it, but it never worked because it would take, you know, 24 hours to download a song. You know, so that was, it was more into classic rock. And then, you know, I love Rage and Red Hot Chili Peppers and everything, but it wasn't until later on that I kind of listened to those. And even at the time, like I listened to them and I liked them, but I didn't know where they were from or anything. You know, I never looked at the history of bands or anything. It was just kind of probably because of what was being played around me. You know, I'm sure the older kids, you know, knew what was going on, and then you hear it and you're like, oh yeah, they use the F word in this. This is cool, you know.
It's all it takes, man. It's all it takes. Well, now the first instrument you started playing was the drums. When did you start playing the drums?
Yeah, I mean, well, technically it would be piano if we're getting literal. But
let's get technical.
The first one I chose, you know, was drums. You know,
piano was forced.
Yeah, very much. Which was the best thing, honestly, that could have ever happened. So, but I started playing drums in 5th grade. You know, like the orchestral drums. You know, when you stand there and play the snare or hit a
timpani
kick drum. Yep. And so I was just kind of doing the drum thing through most of schooling into college. I was playing guitar on the side, but it wasn't. You know, I wasn't the guitar player in the garage bands or anything. I was always the drummer.
So you actually practiced in orchestral drums?
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah. I mean, I did go to college for as a percussion major.
Wow.
Yeah, I obviously don't really do that much anymore.
Well, see, I was in band all through high school, and I was a drummer. I was in orchestral drums, and
Yep.
I didn't really have any competition because our band was so small that like I automatically came in, and they're like, well, I guess this guy's the best drummer because he's basically the only one. So. And so like I didn't do any practicing, and like then once I actually stopped, I was like, man, I really missed something that could have been great. Practicing rudiments, practicing playing like the xylophone, all of these things, and I was like, nah, I'll wing it,
Yeah.
and then my teacher would just look at me and be like, oh, that's nothing. You're nowhere close, right? But,
Yeah.
yeah. So
I mean,
you said,
I was in jazz band too and drumline, which is
that's
just fun.
serious.
But there
Yeah.
was a lot of jazz band stuff where I would go home and listen to the song
Mm-hmm.
and then learn how to play it from that instead of really sight
Notes,
reading
yeah.
it in the room. So then I would go in and they'd be like, "Oh, you got this! Like that's pretty cool." And I'm like, "Well, yeah. I mean, I don't really need the music. I just listen to it and then play it and then kind of know it a little better." But because there were some guys who just you could put a piece of music in front of them and they're like, "Yep, this is it." But
Yeah.
that wasn't as much fun to me.
We had one guy, insane guy. His name was Scoop. He was like 4 years older than me, or 5 years, and he had both. That was the crazy thing. He could sight read and he could listen. Either one. You give him music and he could just go right at it, or you let him listen to it and he could go right at it. And I was just like, wow, I do not have either of those things. That is not possible. So. What did make you switch from the drums to the guitar? I mean, you go to college for it. Was it a thing of like, I don't see a job in this, or was it just like this is way more fun to write songs?
Yeah, pretty much the latter. I mean, I was already kind of playing guitar and singing songs at like a coffee shop when I could, and doing that when I was started to go to college, and I was just like, I enjoy this more than being a drummer. I still played drums like in garage bands and everything throughout all that time, and it was just kind of a natural progression, I guess. It was just pushing the other envelope and seeing where things go, and doing kind of both things, and then the singing and playing guitar just kept working, and I was in control of it.
Yeah.
Kind of compared to the drums, and then at some point I was just like, if I don't have to bring a drum set, that would be great. I'm okay with that.
It's a lot of gear. It's a lot of setup, man.
Yeah.
And then
you meet
those
people that are
heads
just like,
off. Oh.
yeah. And then you meet some people that are just so much better than you, and
Mm.
you're like, man, you should be playing drums right now, and I'll just sing and play guitar, and then and then so on and so forth.
That works. Well,
Yeah.
did you find yourself like playing guitar? Because I've talked to several artists in the past that were drummers first and then became songwriters and guitarists. And I mean, obviously the guitar's a percussive instrument too, but they found themselves being much more percussive than normal guitarist and less melodic. Do you
Yeah.
do you do that? Do you see that come out in your guitar work?
Yeah, quite a bit. I'm always thinking about where the groove is and the beat is more than I'm worried that much about what chord I'm playing.
Mhm.
So yeah, I would say that's super true for my playing, and I think it. I mean, our whole band, we're all a bunch of drummers. I met I think Henry, our guitar player. I think when I first met him, he was drumming in a band. He wasn't playing guitar. And Warren, our bassist, was a drummer for years. He went to school for it, and now he plays bass. I mean, it's just
So
one of those things.
That's where all the rhythm comes from. That's the heavy rhythm. You should do that. Like I know Godsmack does it. You should just like have a part when you guys get big enough where all of you guys go to drum sets and you just have like a drum off in the middle of the concert.
Yeah, we joke about it all the time. You know,
that would be
when
awesome.
our when our van can fit more than one drum set, we'll start talking about it.
Yeah, I guess it wouldn't have the same effect if you guys all just had like a electric practice pads, and we're like, all right,
Yeah.
get this,
Yeah,
you guys.
that'd be kind of lame. I think anyone could do that part, you know. And then we also joked about just setting up 5 drum sets instead of anything else,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
and just see what happens.
And people are like, did we get a Blue Man Group ticket? What the is this? Everybody's playing drums. Now you guys started in 2011. You started the band. Now, did you see yourself as like a solo artist going forward, and then you were like, oh no, I guess this group thing makes more sense, or had you always wanted to be a band?
I always wanted to be a band. You know, when I was playing by myself solo at like coffee shops or anything I could find for that matter. You know, going on like really small, insignificant tours up the coast of California. Always trying to like bring someone with me to play guitar, or bring someone with me to play percussion, or you know, but it was just like I said earlier. I mean, I was in control of that, so I was like, oh well, I'll go play here, do that, and then, you know, so on and so forth. You know, you're like, oh cool, let's put a band together for this one, you know. And then you had the Robert John band, and we were a Robert John band for a little bit, and we just kept playing with each other and writing music with each other, which was a big one. And we were all going on these little tours for nothing, you know. And it just felt more like we were a band than a backing band for someone. And so that's why we kind of created more of a band mentality with it, with Robert John and the Wreck.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it seems like, at least from what I could tell from the research I did, that you guys, like, I mean, you hit the ground running. Like once you became a band, I mean, I saw like a 60 show national tour. Now I'm guessing if this is when you just started and there were 60 shows nationally, there were like 1,000 things that went wrong on that first tour.
Yeah, I know the first tour we went on was about 60 days.
Okay. Not 60.
I don't think it
60
was
shows.
60 shows, which is why it's funny, because I think it was probably like, I'm going to mess up these numbers. Someone's going to call me on it. I'm just using it as an example. You know, we went out for like 60 days and we had like maybe 27 shows, because we would book, you know, we had a show in Seattle, we had a show in Boston, we had a show in Nebraska, we had a show in, you know, maybe Nashville, you know.
We drove
so like,
400,000 miles in 60 days.
Yeah. So we're like, oh, we got this tour and we just have to figure out how to put them together. So I remember just like being like, our guitar player at the time was in the van, just like finding bars that said live music on Yelp. And then we'd call them and be like, hey, you guys have live music? We're coming to town. You know, just stuff like that. Because all we knew was that we wanted to go on tour.
Yeah.
No one taught us how to do that. No one showed us the ropes and said, don't leave until you have shows. And I remember we walked into a bar in Chico. We also had places where we knew people, so we could sleep at their houses, you know, on their couches and stuff. So we had one of those in Chico, and we walked into a bar. We said, do you guys do live music here? They said, yeah, but not tonight. And we said, well, do we have a treat for you?
How about tonight?
Yeah, we're a band from Southern California and we're on tour and we need a place to play tonight. And they're like, what? And then we'll break out the computer, because our phones didn't do us justice back then, and showed them like a track and said, we'll just play for beer and tips. And they said, all right. So I remember doing that a bunch of different places throughout the country. And, you know, those are fun nights, and we were learning how to do what we do now.
Yeah.
Like, we were still learning. So it was a huge learning process for us to figure that out. I mean, what do you do in front of a crowd who has no idea who you are, that really don't want you to be there, you know? So yeah, there's some fond memories of doing that, and just, that's how we started. We just started figuring it out.
I was about to say, it was fun then, right? It was fun when you were young like that. Now, if you had to do that on a tour, you'd probably want to gouge your eyes out.
Yeah, we wouldn't do that as much now. But I'm happy we got to do it
Yeah.
at some point, and maybe, you never know. There might be a point in the future where we're like, you guys bored?
Let's
We're never
go
bored.
get
We're
it.
so busy.
Let's go get it. What? I mean, do you have anything that sticks out from that first tour that went like really haywire, or something that's like gear was not there, gear exploded, van exploding?
Yeah, van exploding kind of happened more. Because, you don't realize that the van gets you from point A to point B. And if you don't get there, then you don't make it. So you need to make sure your van's taken care of. But, when you're with 5 guys who have no money, just fix it how you want. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how much time I have for this story, so I'll make it quick. But
go for
so
it.
we were driving through Utah
Mm-hmm.
on our way to Colorado. Big hills, beautiful. And the van just kind of stopped working on one of those hills on the side of the giant cliff. And we're like, well, I think there was a rest stop like a mile back. Our phones don't work, so we'll start walking. So me and my buddy Kyle started walking towards the rest stop. The van pulls up behind us and says, "Hey, you guys need a lift?" We're like, "Yeah, that's cool." We're not used to this kind of
How friendly, sure.
Yeah. And so we get in the van with their whole family, like 3 kids, mom and dad, bring us to the rest stop. We're like, "Thank you so much." Get to the payphone, call a tow truck on the payphone. Well, we're on the phone with the tow truck service. A guy behind us overhears us who has a trailer and said, "Hey, I'll tow you to the next town. Don't worry about it." So we get in the car with him and his family, go back to the van. We put the van on a trailer, and he drives us into the next town. Meanwhile, trying to figure out where to go, because I think it's a Sunday, everything's closed. One of the guys knew a friend that lived there, or something like that. I think I'm getting the whole thing not exact, but oh man, no, this is what happened. So we got the van on the trailer, we're ready to go, and a car pulls up behind us that breaks down as well. So the guy with the trailer towed the guy behind us. The guy behind us knew of a auto repair shop that wasn't open, but he knew the guy. So he called him. He came in. Van was there. We're there in the middle of nowhere. I still have no idea where we were. It was very deserty somewhere between Utah and Colorado. And he had his son there, and his son happened to be really good at working on Chevy vans.
Of course.
So he got in there and started hitting the catalytic converter with a hammer, and it started working. And so that whole rest of the tour, whenever we hit it, we saw a hill, we got the hammer out, and it would break down. We'd get underneath, hit it with the hammer, and keep on trucking. And that was just what it used to be.
Man, I mean, sometimes you look. I mean, I guess the 2 people that helped you out, it wasn't too concerning since it was their whole family. But
yeah. We're still in touch with one of the guys that helped us throughout that whole thing, and that was in 2011 or 12 or something. He still hits us up and says congrats on records, and just wild.
Nice seeing you through, man. I like it. I like it. Well, now it seems like I looked at this on a historical record online there. It seems sometime around the start of the band was when you decided to go all in on the beard. Keep the beard forever. Now, this may be projection on my part, but was the beard born out of laziness, or was it a style?
Definitely laziness. It just started growing, and I was like, well, I have a beard now, and my wife won't let me cut it, so it's who I am.
So she's a huge fan.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Nice. That's a good wife then. That's I hear those horror stories all the time of like, oh my wife won't let me grow a beard. I'm like, what? One of the you got to. It's the only way. Otherwise, you're shaving every day. That's just horrible. I can't. That's the only reason. People always ask me like, oh, what made you want to grow out a beard? I'm like, cause I didn't want to shave. That's pretty much it. It's very easy. But
yeah, it's a little out of control right now, but
Yeah, yeah, that's the thing is you just do a couple of brush downs and it's
Yeah.
back. It's back. Well, talking about hairstylings there, you mentioned him before, your guitarist there, Henry James. He's got it all, man. He's got the stash and the fro going. It's a good combo right there.
Yeah. Killing it.
It's looking very, late 60s, early 70s. I like the styling.
Yeah.
Gives you a vibe. Well,
For sure.
now the Red Moon Rising album, 9th studio album. Like you're average an album like every year and a half. How can you guys put out albums so fast? Is it because all of you are songwriters? How are you so prolific?
That certainly helps. Yeah. I mean, it really started in when we were touring Europe, because we'd go out there for a tour, we'd come back home, we'd figure out when the next one was and want something new on the table and say, okay, well then let's go record a record.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, go write a record, record it, it was, that mentality has kind of been there the whole time. So it never kind of went away.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, I mean, we love to write and make new songs and that's just kind of, it's been kind of in our body and our mission, this whole time. So it's been pretty natural and, yeah, it's a lot of fun.
How do you guys do it? Do you guys come together with sort of, is it one of those like half-baked ideas? You have like a riff, you have a melody, you say, let's build off of this? Or is it everybody comes in and they've got, almost full formulated songs?
Every song's different when it comes down to it. Every song has its own path of becoming what you hear one day. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's songs that people come in with that are just literally a riff and we just jam, see where it goes,
mm-hmm.
Or just maybe one line of a chorus and be like, that sounds cool. Where do you go from there? Like there's nothing there. So we do a lot of jamming in the room. We do a lot of writing together and just playing, just making things feel good.
Yeah.
Just singing out a bunch of stuff that doesn't make sense and then figuring out what could make sense that sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of workshopping and then we do some co-writes too, where we'll sit in a room and just write a cool song and then we'll take it back to the band and then figure out kind of how the vibe is going to work,
Yeah.
And like how to make it into something that sounds like us and that we enjoy. And,
mm-hmm.
But yeah, every song's vastly different in how it's created.
Have you, we were talking about it earlier as far as how many drummers there are. Has any song been born out of a drum part?
I believe so. I'm trying to think of an example. But yeah, I guess it's not as much of like, oh, that song with that drum part. It's more of like, there's been tons of times where Andy will just start playing a beat,
mm-hmm.
and Henry and Warren and Jake just start playing something,
mm-hmm.
and then I start singing something, and then there you go. Like we didn't come in planning on it. We just started jamming, and it started with the drums and morphed into that.
Yeah. Well, what about? So I would say I think "Oh Miss Carolina" there is the highest streamed on
mm-hmm.
Spotify. Was that a jam song?
Not too much. I wrote that one with my buddy Ian Colin, who does a lot of work with us. Writes a lot. One of the best men at my wedding. Not some random guy. And yeah, I think we put that one together at his place, just in the kitchen drinking and playing. And, but, that one changed up a lot because the chorus was the bridge and the second verse was the chorus. And, like we brought it into the room and that's when we kind of put it together and make it better if it needs to.
Was it one of those that when you finished, obviously you're a fan of everything that you write, but was it one of those like, this will be good? This is going to be a good one.
Yeah, I think so. Like when we were in that room and we moved that bridge to the chorus place and then we're like, oh, that's going to be cool. We never know which song is going to be the one that hits bigger than other songs, but we can definitely be in the room and be like, this one has something, this one feels good to us. So,
well, I was gonna ask because I mean I asked this a lot of artists and like for me it would drive me a little bananas. Like right now, it seems like on Spotify, Dragging Me Down, that's number one on the list on Spotify, and it's had a couple of thousand streams in a couple of months. Do you get a little crazy looking at numbers, or do you just never look at numbers?
I just don't look at numbers.
That's the smart route.
I used to back in the day when, I don't know, it was exciting to get, a couple people to listen to it. I just, I don't really watch the numbers as much. I mean, there's people that are on our team. I'm just not the one that does.
Well, I mean, since you're not looking at it, I will tell you, this is crazy to me. So Dragging Me Down, number one on Spotify, but then on Apple, number one is Old Friend. And Dragging Me Down isn't in the top 10 on Apple, and Old Friend isn't in the top 10 on Spotify. And I'm just like, how? It's an effing crapshoot, man. What is that? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's interesting because then if you start looking at that stuff and YouTube and everything, you start seeing like the different demographics that use what streaming service, and then that's a whole different thing. And you just, because I use Spotify, I don't use Apple Music. I don't know how it happened, but that's just what happened.
Yeah.
And, so then I haven't even been on Apple Music. I don't even know how to look at Apple Music technically, so, and then there's people that don't use Spotify or Apple Music. They just use YouTube.
Yeah.
And YouTube's a great place to listen to music, especially like at a party when you want something on the TV, but you don't want to watch something.
Yeah.
You just throw that on and then there's videos and then I don't know. It's kind of, I like it. There's some bars that we go to that do that and it's just kind of fun.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, what they used to do. I mean, MTV and
when they actually played videos. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, it's good that I am not a musician because that would drive me bananas. And people would be like, "Hey, you're an artist. You should probably work on that." And I'd be like, "But look, this song is doing great, and this one isn't. Why is that?" It would drive me crazy. You've got a lot on this new album. You got a lot of emotions, styles. There's hard rock songs. There's piano ballads. And looking back on previous albums, I wouldn't say it seems like you go into albums with a concept. I may be wrong, or like a theme. But when you finish, do you go, okay, this is how all of those songs go together. This is the collective theme.
We just get in the room and start writing. Mm-hmm. There's never like a path or anything. We just start writing and coming up with ideas. And, after a while, like if we get 6 that are all like huge, heavy rock songs, we're like, hey, well, if this is going to be for a record, we should probably think about like, something to give it some dynamics, So we'll think about that a little bit. And then but I feel like sometimes it just happens naturally where like, oh, like yesterday we worked on like a heavy one. So I'm going to bring in like this one that's not too heavy today. Mm-hmm. But then who knows, because that one that you bring in that's not too heavy could just turn into heavier than the other one. Mm-hmm. We try not to let those types of things go. I mean, if we're feeling it and we're pushing it in a different place, we just push it. We're only just trying to make the best song we can. And there's some songs where we've gone in the room and worked on it for hours and created this thing. And then we go back and completely not do what we just worked on for hours and go back to the original and just have it be acoustic. It's like, it's just, songwriting is an interesting thing to do. And we're still learning. I mean, everyone that's writing songs is still learning how to do it and hopefully getting better as you go. And, if you go out and build a house by yourself with your hands, the first one's not going to be as good as the 50th one you build. You learn every time like, oh, I'm going to do that part first. Or, I'm going to use these. This is getting weird. I'm going to use these nails instead of these nails because those seem to work better.
Yeah.
you just kind of learn as you go, and
Refining.
hopefully every song is a little better than the last,
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, now you've done sort of the release a single sort of plan on this album. You've released a single there for like basically every month or two for the last about 8 months. So listeners can almost listen to the whole album sort of through the singles, except for 4 songs that I saw. It was Down No More, Help Yourself, Rager, and Hate to See You Go, which Rager and Hate to See You Go are album specials. Those are album exclusives.
Pretty much.
Out of those 4, which one would you tell me to listen to first?
Rager.
Oh, there was no question. I like that.
No question at all. That song is awesome.
Now, have you played that one in concert yet?
No, not yet.
Okay.
But I'm sure it'll come. One thing that we were doing was we were playing like new songs before they came out, and to like get us ready for them, And we got a lot of people at the end of the show being like, "Where can I hear it? Where can I buy it? I want it now." And it kind of got to the point where we're like, I mean, it's one thing if we're trying something out just for shits and giggles or something, but when we like have a song down and we know it's coming out soon, sometimes it's easier just to wait till it's out, and then you don't have people like just being upset that they can't get it, they can't buy it. So we've kind of cycled that back a little bit to kind of play songs that we know are out and that people can find. But the album comes out on the 28th, so
it's almost here. I will say I have seen a lot of I have seen a lot of that from other artists on social media where they'll play a song, like they'll be like, "Hey, I'm thinking about releasing this," and they'll put it on Instagram or TikTok or whatever, and all the comments will just be like, "Where can I get it? Give it to me now!" And I'm just like, "Hey, easy. They're coming out with it soon enough, man. They're a little demanding, want a little bit right then and there."
Well, and that's part of the culture right now. I mean, if you want something, you go on the internet and you get it, no matter if it's buying something on Amazon, finding a song, finding a movie, like, someone's comedy special. It's just right at your fingertips. And so it's something that I think has changed a lot in the past few years of, I went and saw this band and they were great. I can't find their record, but they were great. I'll go see them again. Now it's more like, hey, I went and saw this band. I saw them and they're great. I have their record, and so I will see them again. It's not the other way around. What do I know? I don't know.
It feeds into itself. No, it's definitely true. You've seen a change over the last several years in that way, and I mean, it can go both ways though. I've definitely seen it's just that's to me, that's the craziness, is there's not one route like there used to be, like you said, of I'm gonna see this band, I'm gonna want to get their CD, then I'm gonna go back out. There's not that same thing. They could go because of seeing you on social media. They could go because of an album. They could go. There's all kinds. It's a crazy mishmash world out there.
Yeah,
it's nuts. Well, Jon, we are excited for the new album coming out. Can't wait to see it. But we are up against a break. I want to thank you for coming on the show today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been great, man. Great talking to you.
For sure. Listeners, there you have it. When the album comes out, make sure you listen to Rager. Robert Jon endorses it. Robert Jon and the Wreck going to Europe at the end of the month. The new album is going to come out on June 28th. Right now, we're going to listen to Dragging Me Down right here on the Doc G Show.
This is 95.5 Spinnaker Radio. WSKR-LP-FM, UNF Jacksonville.
Hey, what's up? This Rock Montana. This Mucho Yellow. And this Rockin' Yellow. And you're listening to Doc G Show from 803 to 904. The best show on the radio. You dig?
And we are back here on the Doc G Show. You just heard Robert Jon right here on the Doc G Show. Shout out to Robert Jon for coming on the show.
Shout out.
Fantastic beard, Mike. Quite a beard. And those guys, I mean, my goodness, it's one of those things. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes, like, do you get worried, Mike, as a comedian that you're going to run out of jokes?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Well, no, not really at this point. I mean, I've got my act. I would probably just keep doing my act for the rest of my life. If there was any type of I couldn't develop anything else, I've got my act. I'll just do it for the rest of my life.
You know, like sometimes I think about that with comedians, with musicians, because like that's the thing is these last like couple of years they've came out with so many albums. You know, they've came out with like 4 albums in a row, and I'm like, if I were him, I'd be like, I don't think I can come up with any more good songs.
Nope.
Like I'm gonna run out of songs here at some point in time. You know.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess there's unlimited options out there. I'm just saying. I feel like, and then sometimes, you know, I guess the imposter syndrome, if you will, would start coming in my mind, and I'd be like, I'm just redoing the same that I've done before. This isn't any good, you know. You know, I'm projecting all of my issues on Robert Jon. None of these things happened to Robert Jon, and they have great songs, Mike. So, anyways, that's just my worry in my head if I were Robert Jon. So,
yeah, it is an interesting dilemma.
You know, I mean, I do think some artists overthink that. They're, you know, sort of in my boat like that. And I mean, I think that's why sometimes artists will have just such a delay on their albums. They're like, no, it's got to be perfect. I got to do this.
Yeah.
No, this album's not right. I got to put this in. I got to put this in. And then some artists are like, I'll put it out. And,
I'll put it out. Even if it's not like a professional recording. Even if it's just something I recorded at my house in the middle of the night.
And you know what?
with my iPhone.
I think that's the way you got to do it these days. You know?
Yeah, you just got to put stuff out.
You look at the big artists. You know, I was going down Ed Sheeran's list of, like, you know, releases just last night, because he was the number 1 selling artist in the UK this past year, and I was like, what did Ed Sheeran put out that would make him the number 1 selling artist? And then that's the thing, is he didn't have an album out in 2024. He had an album out in 2023, but like he just kept putting out singles. He put out different versions of the album. He put out an acoustic version, put out a traveling live version. He did and it's just all this stuff. You just continually put it out, you know?
Yeah.
You know? And that's what you know, you got to have a team that does that.
Yeah.
We need a team, Mike.
We need a team.
We need a team. But here's the problem. Teams cost money.
They do.
You know?
Yeah.
We don't have money.
Nope.
Yeah.
No.
Looks like we're going to be teamless.
Well, I guess it's just
us.
A duo.
It's just us. Mike, regardless, I do want to thank Robert for coming on the show. It's fantastic. Make sure if you get a chance, go out and check him out. Of course, they will be in Europe first, but then they're coming back to the States. They will be here. It will be fantastic. And, of course, check out their new music. Mike, it's time to move on to the fastest growing segment in the world.
Mike C. Top 3.
Good topic this week. A music topic, but also a focus topic. Even still, because of the amazingness of this artist, I have like 37 honorable mentions. But... Mike, do you want to do honorable mentions first or last?
Probably last.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do it
listeners,
last.
the topic, I think you might be aware, but listeners, the topic is top 3 Michael Jackson songs.
Yeah.
It's pretty tough. Okay, here we go. My number 3, Remember the Time.
Ah, good. Nice number 3.
It's just such a nice jam, man. Like, it just puts me I think I said this last week when we were talking about this, but it's such a nostalgic song for me for the 90s. Right at the start of the 90s, like 92-ish, when I was a super young buck and I was just starting to listen to the radio, you know?
Yeah.
And that song would come on, I'd be like, Do you remember the time?
Yeah.
When we fell in love. Do you remember the time? And like I said, Magic Johnson's in the video, and he's all happy too. He's in there dancing. He's like it's supposed to be like they're, I don't know, they're in the ancient Egypt. It's wild. It's a good video, man. Anywho, great song, great album with Dangerous. Sure. Mike, what's your number 3?
My number 3, PYT. Pretty Young Thing.
Wow. Yeah. Mike didn't mess around. He said, I am going deep cut, and he meant it, folks.
Oh,
he meant
PYT.
it. Wow, nice. Yeah. That's a good jam. That is a good jam. I'm pretty sure that was a single, though. I think that was a single.
I think it was a single.
Yeah. Pretty solid. It's a good...
A lot of...
It's a good song, though. It's a good song.
It is.
I said I was going to go deep cuts on this list, Mike. There are no deep cuts. The big ones were too much for me. I was like, remember the time is as deep as I get. That's as deep as it goes. But my number 2, Mike, I think, I don't know if this had to be one of those intros to me for music in general. My brother had this tape. The tape album of this, and I just thought it was the most fun thing ever. And then I got the VHS of all the videos of this album. I think like my uncle got it for me for Christmas or something like that.
That's cool. I didn't even know that
Exactly.
Nice.
But it does for Michael Jackson because he's Michael Jackson. But regardless, bad.
That's right.
Okay.
Boom, down, down, down. Boom, 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 boom. Boom,
yeah.
Boom, 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 boom. Oh, so good, Mike.
Yeah.
Who's bad? Dun, 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 dun. Oh,
great video. Yeah.
Just and when you're 5, you think that's some rebel right there. You know, you're like,
is that the one where he like from across the room throws like a coin into a jukebox?
No. Yeah, you're thinking that's
Billie Jean?
No, I think that's Smooth Criminal, I want to say.
Smooth Criminal. Okay.
This is the one where he's in the parking garage.
Their parking garage. Yeah. Okay.
And he's got all the leather on. He walks up.
Yeah.
They start dance battling, and you're like, oh my gosh, look at them. They're doing ballet moves off the car. Only bad do that, you know? Like,
yeah.
It's pretty great. I was a huge fan when I was like 6. I'm still a huge fan. If I could ballet dance off of a car, I totally would right now, but
same.
I'd break 7 bones and be like, oh, God, ow, 40, ow, you know. Okay, Mike, your number 2.
My number 2, Rock With You.
Oh.
Number 2, yeah.
Good jam. That's the real early. That's the real early MJ, you know.
I like that disco.
I was about to say, that's still the disco. The disco age. Gonna ride with you all night.
Yeah.
So good.
I like that intro, whatever that intro sound
that
is.
synth, yeah. The synthesizer.
That synth.
It's good stuff.
That synthesizer, man. That's beautiful.
Good stuff, man. It's good stuff. My number 1 on the list, Beat It.
Beat it.
It's just,
Beat it.
It's just so hard edge, man. That guitar.
You can't beat it.
You know who does that guitar, Mike?
Actually, no.
That's Eddie Van Halen.
That's
Van Halen that does that. Wow. Just such a good, oh my gosh, just everything about that song.
Yeah.
Again, when you hear that and you're a young buck, you're like, could I be more of a rebel right now? I don't think so. This is pretty gangster, everybody. And again, it's another one. You show up in your gangster gear and you guys decide to dance it out. You know, at first you fight by tying each other together with a bandana and you trade blades. But then afterwards, MJ comes in and says, hey, I got a better idea. How about we shimmy and shake our anger away? Okay?
Yeah.
We dance our troubles, guys, and they dance.
That's how we do
exactly.
it. Exactly. Yeah,
it's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Mike, your number 1.
My number 1, kind of a deep cut, also a newer MJ song, You Rock My World. That was with Chris Tucker was in the music video. It was a newer song, but like That one, that's in my playlist. That's in my Unskippables playlist.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
It's a different
Again,
one, but it's a good
man.
MJ song.
Getting it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, my honorable mentions, Mike.
Yeah.
Rock With You. There. Don't Stop Till You Get Enough.
Of course.
Fantastic. Now, I didn't think this one's really really good, but I didn't think it because it's the Jacksons. So Jacksons, Blame It on the Boogie. Blame It on the Boogie is just it's a jam. And I mean, of course Michael sings lead. So I was like, maybe I'm going to put it in honorable mentions. Thriller, of course. Got to have Thriller.
Yeah, of course, man.
Smooth Criminal. Got to have Smooth Criminal on there. Speed Demon. I don't know if you ever crank out Speed Demon, but that's a jam. That's on the Bad album right there. Speed Demon. It's got a really good synthesizer in it too.
Cool.
Billie Jean, of course.
Yeah.
Dirty Diana, of course. Man in the Mirror, jam. The Way You Make Me Feel, Black or White. Those are my honorable mentions.
Black or White.
Yeah, man.
Okay. Doc G, I have two. I'm surprised this one didn't show up on yours, but ABC 123, also a Jacksons. Jacksons. And then Baby Be Mine. I was just kind of perusing through MJ's. And Baby Be Mine to me sounds almost like it was Rock With You version 2.
Yeah. You could do Rock With You part 2.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah, ABC, man, you could I want to say that's one of the most sampled songs in the history of samples. It's a jam. It's a jam.
It is.
Mike, what do we want to do for next week?
I was thinking top 3 sports movies.
Yeah.
So top 3 sports movies.
Yeah. I think I've got my number. Oh man, that's gonna be tough. Ooh, there's so many that I like. Oh man, it's gonna be a good one though. It's gonna be a good one. Sports movies. I've got
sports movies.
I've got several. I've got at least 3. I don't know if they'll all go in my top 3, but I've got 3 in my head right now.
I only have one, to be honest with you, so I'm gonna have to do
Rudy.
I'm gonna have to do some research. Huh?
Rudy.
Actually, no.
Okay.
I'll save it for next week.
Yeah, of course. Okay.
You'll know. You'll be like, oh, not surprised.
Rudy's not going to be on my list. Oh, it's a Shaquille O'Neal movie. Okay.
That's a fact.
All right. We are going to finish up. We've got 2 more birthday suits. Let's see here. I'm just going to do them in order. I'm just going to get the order that I got them in here.
All right,
first of all, we got born on June 19th, 1962 in San Fernando, California. Her birthday suit wearer always loved dancing. She started at a young age taking ballet, jazz, and tap. She went to California State University, Northridge to study broadcasting. During her freshman year, she was selected during a tryout to be the new cheerleading squad leader for the Lakers, for the Laker girls. After being selected, she became the head choreographer. She was with the Lakers until 1986. Started getting notoriety for the choreography, doing choreography for music videos like Janet Jackson. What have you done for me lately? She did the choreography for that video.
Say what?
She then went on to sign a record deal. Her first album was Forever Your Girl that came out in 1988. She had 4 number 1 singles on that album with Straight Up, Forever Your Girl, Cold Hearted, and Opposites Attract. Straight up now, tell me, are you gonna be me and you forever? Oh. Her second album,
Thank you.
Spellbound, was successful. No, it wasn't as successful. In 2002, she became a judge on American Idol. She was on American Idol for 7 years until 2009. Name that birthday suit wearer.
Is it Paula Abdul?
Nicely done,
Let's go.
Mike.
Let's go.
2 for 2. That's right in that time period of Bad, Mike. You know, when with the Forever Your Girl, because that was such a good album that it stuck around for a good like 2-3 years. I remember, man, Straight Up being on the radio all the time. Straight up now, tell me how it's gonna be you and me forever.
That was the jam.
Oh, it was good. And then Opposites Attract. Opposites Attract had what's his name? He had the late night show in the 90s. Arsenio Hall had Arsenio Hall in the music video. Good stuff. Good stuff. Cool. Paula Abdul, man, just dancing her heart out. Dancer first, dancer above everything. But good singer. It seems to be a lovely lady, and you know, like I said, literally like the first Laker girl ever. Pretty wild.
Wow.
Yeah. That was like, I mean, that's where sort of everything started for her. And it started when she was 18, just straight out of high school. Wild. Anywho, Mike, we're going to go on to our last one here. Born on June 19th, 1983 in Seattle, Washington. He was 6 years old when he first heard hip-hop. He heard Digital Underground. Started writing his own raps when he was 18. He released his first mixtape in 2000. In 2006, he met Ryan Lewis, who first worked with him as a photographer, but ultimately as a collaborator. In 2012, they released the album The Heist. The album became a massive success with songs like White Walls, Same Love, Can't Hold Us, Wings, and of course, Thrift Shop. Can't Hold Us has over 2.4 billion streams on Spotify alone. Thrift Shop has 1.2 billion streams on Spotify alone. He released several albums since The Heist, but none of them has been as popular. In 2019, he released a single, These Days, with Rudimental, which also has over 1 billion streams on Spotify. He recently released a protest song for the Israel-Hamas war. Name that birthday suit wearer.
Is that Macklemore?
Macklemore is correct. Nicely done. 3 for 3, Mike.
Is that Macklemore?
Macklemore, yeah.
Oh.
M-A-C-K-E or M-A-C-K-L-E-M-O-R-E. Cool. Macklemore.
Macklemore.
Macklemore. Whatever.
I don't know.
You know, I don't really know, how you pronounce. Anyways, it's his birthday. So there you go. Yeah. Man, I'll tell you, that 2012-ish era, woo! Good Lord, was he popular then.
Yeah, he was.
I mean, that thing was everywhere. Same Love, Can't Hold Us, Thrift Shop, all of those just, exploded. And I didn't know this, Mike. He used to be an addict, Macklemore. And he actually had a relapse during the COVID pandemic. He relapsed and almost died from an overdose in like 2020. Like literally.
I thought it was weed. For some reason, I thought it was weed, but then I guess no, you can't.
No. This was heroin. Yeah, crazy. I didn't know that. Like, I mean, literally, they had taken him to hospital, almost died from the overdose.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was wild. But
COVID.
Seems like he's back on the horse, back sober again. So happy birthday to Macklemore, turning the big 42. No, 40, cool. 41. Sorry, not
41.
Didn't mean to give you the extra year there, Macklemore. 41. Mike, need to wrap it up for this week, but we've got some fantastic shows coming up. I'm very excited. We've got some big old comedians coming in. We've got Alfred Robles coming up. We've got Annie Letterman coming on the show, and we got Morgan J coming on the show. All just big timers in the old comedy world. And we got some fantastic musicians coming too. Can't wait. Next on the list there, we've got Sonny Goulage coming on the show straight out of New Orleans. Can't wait to talk to him. It's going to be a good time. But first, Mike, not first.
Oh, come on.
What would it be?
But last.
Last. Yes. But last, Mike. We need to wrap it up. I have been your host, Doc G. With me, as always, the one, the only, Mikey Maximus, the Furnicus, Charette.
Always a pleasure, Doc G. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. And until next week, zip it up and zip it out.
Zippity-doo-dah.